Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. thegenesisvii here, and if this video comes out when it's intended, which will be Christmas Eve, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. This is what it says on the tin, my top 5 video games of 2022. These are games that have come out this year. I've compiled my little bit of list. I've got them here just at the side of me. We're going to go through my thoughts and opinions on it, and that's something to remember. This is my top 5. You are more than welcome to put your top 5 in the comments section below. Maybe there's a game that's not on my list, but it's on your list. I'll be more curious to check it out and see what it's all about. There may be a game on my list that isn't on your list, and you think, well, you know what, I really like what you're talking about, and I might give this game a go. I want it all in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Let's end the year on a high, and let's keep it healthy in the comments. That being said, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get into it, because some of these games I covered on the channel and I will probably promptly kind of like point up at the cards, and I may not talk as much about it and talk more about the others. This isn't because of my thoughts on the game, it's just the way I'm flowing with this video. I'll talk with everything that I've got in my head, throw it at you, and hopefully it is good enough. So let's move on to game number 5. We are starting off the list with a good one here. Number 5 is Live Alive, so I don't get butchered in the comments. This really came out at the right time for me. What an experience. It was one of those, like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, links in the cards. It's one of those JRPGs that was always on those must-play JRPG lists. But it was only available in Japanese, obviously, through emulation. You could get it translated and play it that way. I waited around and it came out. And it came out in the beautiful 2D HD style. And wow, what an experience. What a nice, small, really small JRPG in the palm of your hands here. You got those time periods that you go through, and then it all kind of interlinks very briefly at the end. It was really satisfying with me. I took my time, I went out and tried to get everything that I could, I grinded in the periods that I could, and overall I loved it. The voice acting, just the 2D HD style in general, makes me want more games like this. Hidden gems, I guess you could call them, being brought back to life through this style. Really, really good game. Really great music. Soundtrack was phenomenal. And again, I got to give kudos to the voice acting. It really did add to a game that came out over 20 years ago. And I really think you should get it if you want that small, chunky kind of JRPG experience. Something that you don't need to kind of obsess over, but you could do in one session. This is the game for you. And that's why it is at my number 5. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 on my top 5 is Horizon Forbidden West for the PlayStation 5, and this again was a great experience. This took me a lot longer than Live Alive. I think it may be the top tier of how much time I put into a PlayStation 5 game. I think I just put just over 100 hours into it, and I'm going to tell you why. I'll give you a brief history. I went through Horizon Zero Dawn. I just kind of grinded through the story. The world really didn't interest me, but I felt committed to complete the story. I enjoyed the story, but not enough to kind of go through the frozen wilds and everything else. But there was something about the marketing, or maybe the fact that I finally had a PlayStation 5, and this was a game that was coming out, even though it was on last gen as well. I think it was just I must have this game. It's a PlayStation title. I need to play it. And wow. I'm glad I did pick it up, because it's one of those games, it's one of the only games I've played on performance mode, because the world is just simply beautiful. I was more than happy to have the frame drop sacrifice, play at 30 frames, just because of this world. And talking about the world, when it comes to open world games, I get very easily distracted and end up putting them down. because I will see a question mark on the map and I have to go to it and I have to do everything before I go to the next section of the map, and because of that I usually lose interest in the story and end up putting it down. So with this, I did that exact thing. But because the world was so engaging, even the side quests having a great story, and even like a few mini games that you had as well, it did its thing. It did it perfectly for me. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the lore of the world. It's making me want to go back to Zero Dawn, but I think there may be a remake or remaster coming out soon, so I'll wait for that. But this world was fantastic. I enjoyed the story. I loved the hub that you had halfway through the game, and as the story goes on, it kind of builds up and there's more things in there. I would have loved some of the collectibles to appear in there, have a bit of customization, just to kind of make that base my own compared to other people that played it, and then when we talk about it, it can be like, oh, this is what my base looks like, this is what your base looks like. But that's just a personal opinion on myself. But just the world, the combat, the graphics, I enjoyed the voice acting, even though Aloy, before the patch where they patched out her comments while going through the world map, grabs something, she makes a comment, grab it again, she makes that same comment, grabs something else, she made that comment as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself. 100% of this. I got the platinum, and I'm really excited for Burning Shores to come out next year. You know I'm going to be tackling that. Probably do a video on it. This is one of the games I didn't do a video review on it, just because, I don't know, it's my own experience, and now I'm sharing it at the end of the year with my number 4 game of 2022. So let's move on to number 3. My third game of the year is Sonic Frontiers. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a Sega fan, and that being said, I'm ultimately a Sonic fan. And I've just played every game. I've got my own opinions. I've enjoyed every experience I have, some more than others. But there was something about Frontiers that I was really excited for. Like, I was really excited. Obviously, they had the kind of slow marketing push, and then it kind of like shot up to 100 instantly about a month or two before release. I was excited. I had it pre-ordered. I got it digitally, so I've got no physical copy to kind of throw at you in the video. But Sonic Frontiers, man, what a game. You know what? It really kind of reminded me of when I first played Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. That's the feeling I got. I really enjoyed the open zone. Definitely a foundation that can be improved upon over time, but as the basis was, I love just exploring, doing all the little challenges. Even when I 100% of the game, I got a platinum trophy for it as well. I really kind of went around and tried to do these other little challenges just to get more memory tokens and really kind of like get a sense of what they were aiming for. Cyberspace levels, can't complain, man. They were like a 1-2 minute long, a little bit of a challenge on some of them a little bit easy, but just kind of overall enhanced the experience in my view. Graphically, probably the best Sonic game we've had graphically. Yeah, I played this one on performance mode because it's Sonic. You want to be getting as most frames as you can out of the game. But yeah, the music's kick-ass. The story really surprised me, though it let me down a little bit at the end. Overall, the story was great. It was really cool. Nice little throwbacks that didn't feel forced. I really am excited to see where they go next with this foundation they've got. I want the worlds to be more, I want there to be more secrets. Like, I want to go to like a section on the map and there'll be, you know, something there, and just more surprises as opposed to like things that are marked on the map. I like little things that are hidden. Yes, there was those little sections throughout the map where Sonic would comment on, oh, this waterfall reminds me of Mystic Ruins, etc. But I want more of that and just kind of build up the world a little bit more, lore. But overall, what an experience with Sonic Frontiers. It really caught me off guard, and it is one of my top Sonic games ever. Really enjoyed my time with it, and that is why it is my number 3. Number 2 is a game that has been recently discussed on the channel, and that is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Now, a little bit biased because I do have a connection with Crisis Core. You can watch my review here, you can watch my spoiler talk as well, it'll be up there, and I've also got a gimmicky kind of secret ending that I made as well, just because I love this game, I love this kind of series, I love the compilation. The reason it's number 2 is because it was a phenomenal remaster, it really was. It still had that clunkiness of the PSP, though combat was improved, but that run was still like a PSP kind of like Kingdom Hearts kind of run. But yeah, I enjoyed my time. I love Zack as a character, like I mentioned in my review. When I first kind of like experienced Zack, I was at the end of my teens going into to adulthood, and just the positivity that he kind of like brought to the game and to me, without being cheesy. There's a bit of cheesiness here and there, but not being like oversaturated, really helped me out, and I think that's why it's made it to this list and why I really do praise the game in my video review as well. I just think it's a great game. The 300 missions is definitely something to kind of like tick off your list if you really kind of dedicate yourself to the game. The fact that there's so many ways you can tackle it with the materia fusion and different kind of attacks and all the accessories that you get over time, and just the overall replayability of Crisis Core Reunion. It's really good, and I do suggest people that have never touched a Final Fantasy game, play Crisis Core Reunion, and if you like it, go through the route of playing either the original Final Fantasy VII or remake, because I really think you'll like what it has to offer. But that's my opinion. You might not. You might think, oh man, this game sucks, but in my eyes, it absolutely does not, and that is why Crisis Core. I got the original PSP case here because I got it digitally, and game messed up my Steelbook pre-order as well, which I'm a bit gutted about. But Crisis Core Reunion is my number 2 game of 2022. Now, we are here at my number 1 game, my game of the year. This is a game that I put in incredible amounts of time in. I probably have put 170 hours into it, and I absolutely loved my experience with this. This was a phenomenal game, and if you haven't guessed it already, it is indeed Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Wow. Wow, what a game. And where do I start? I guess I should touch on my history with the Xenoblade Chronicles series. My first Xenoblade game was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I then played the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I didn't touch Torna, I'd not played X, and then obviously I moved on to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think this is one of the games where its marketing push kind of grabbed me, and I was like, I've got a Nintendo Switch, I've got an OLED, this is going to look beautiful on it. I really like what I'm seeing, the story seems good, and it will tie up the arc that we've had through 1, 2, and then now 3. What a story. I love the story of like them having to fight, and then obviously dying, and then coming back, and then having to fight, and then trying to find a way to kind of break that chain and understand why this is happening, who's behind this all, and just the overall emotion. There's one story beat that I'm sure you guys will know about if I kind of touch on it without spoiling it, where it just really got me, man. It brought tears to my eyes. What a phenomenal journey. And now I've got to talk about the world. Like, this world, we all know what the Xenoblade worlds are like, these massive kind of like open landscapes that you can just explore for hours on end, and that's what I did, like finding these like secret bosses, the elite marks, and just overall getting a feel for the combat system. Nice segue, I think, in my eyes. The combat system is just like a combination, like a loose combination of the first and second games and the way it works. But the customization, I love this class system. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy V and the way that really enhanced the job system. That was my introduction to the job system, and any game that kind of takes that and makes it their own, I absolutely fall in love with. And Xenoblade Chronicles 3 did a phenomenal job with the class system they introduced. All these characters have great stories, and more characters being introduced with the DLC. The DLC, I can't wait for the ending DLC, like the full kind of like tournament experience we're gonna get at the end of next year, which I'll probably talk about because I'm sure it'll blow me away. But that's what this game did. Like, I did not mind spending 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, sometimes like a small hour session here and there, just throwing myself at this game, just getting engrossed in this world, headphones in, just sitting there on the sofa, and just taking everything in. It hit every nail on the head for me. The music was phenomenal. I'm using phenomenal a lot, but it really was. I think even if this is going to be your first kind of venture into the Xenoblade series, I think it's a good starting place. Like, you don't really need to know everything about the lore, but at the same time, you'll get the little nods and the links throughout the story. But I think you could just have a great standalone experience with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as well. I kind of want to go back, you know, and grind. 100%ed it. When I say 100%, I think I've got 2 secret bosses to do, and that's it. And I haven't even gone through some of the DLC yet. So I really haven't 100%ed it, have I, guys? But I did the main story, the vanilla main story, and all the side quests, except 2 secret bosses. I now need to kind of continue with that and max out everything. And I will probably go back to this. Like, I'm not going to go back to it anytime soon, but I'll probably go back to this probably halfway through next year, maybe. Maybe when the next wave of DLC comes out, and if I don't, I will be going back to it when that final DLC comes out. So there we have it, guys, my top 5 games, including obviously my number 1, the game of the year for me. Do you agree with this list? Do you not agree with this list? Like I said previously at the beginning of the video, if there is a game I missed out on, a game that you think I should check out, if there's a game that I should check out, please let me know in the comment section below. Let's have a nice discussion, end off the year with a high. And again, I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.